Hi everyone, it's Rain here from Rain's Kitchen and Garden. Today I'm in my kitchen and I'm going to show you how to make these delicious baked sour cream donuts. You don't need any special ingredients, but you do need some special equipment, and I'll talk about that next. So why don't I show you how to make them? This is the special equipment that you're going to need to make the donuts. Now, for sure you're going to need some donut pans. Okay, these came in a pack of 3. I bought them off Amazon. I only use 2 of them at a time because this recipe only makes 9 donuts. I don't know any other way you can make these donuts without these donut pans. So that probably is not optional. This, however, is optional. This is a pastry bag. And basically, I don't have any specific decorative top. I just took the top that's the largest. This is optional. It definitely makes your life a lot easier. And I would say if you don't have a pastry bag, you could take, a large zip top bag, and in one of the corners, just snip off the corner here. And you can use that as a pastry bag, because basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be piping in the dough around here. And I tried to do it without the pastry bag and it was very, very difficult. The first step is to preheat your oven. Now you want to preheat it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's 175 degrees Celsius or gas mark 4. Now you want to prepare your pans. You want to grease the pans. Personally, I like to use unsalted butter to grease my pans. I don't like the taste of oil. But you can use whatever you have handy, whatever you like to use to grease your pans. Some people do use oil, some people use a non-stick spray. But it's important to make sure that your pans are nice and greased up so that your donuts don't stick. And because this recipe makes 9 donuts, I'm only going to grease 9 of... Geez, I don't even know what this is called. 9 of the cups, the donut sections. I don't even know what it's called. Isn't that funny? But you get the idea. 9 of these are getting buttered. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so we can set these aside now and start making our donut batter. In a large mixing bowl, I'd like you to add a half a cup of sour cream. That's about 115 grams. I make my own sour cream at home. It's very, very easy, and one of these days I'm going to make a video and show you how to do that. It tastes so good, and there's no preservatives in it. Just trying to get all of that sour cream off the spatula. Okay, we're going to add 1 large egg, a half a teaspoon or 2.4 grams of vanilla or vanilla extract, whatever you have. I've got a 1/4 cup of extra light olive oil here. Extra light tasting, that's approximately 55 grams. You can use whatever oil you want. I wouldn't suggest you use extra virgin olive oil because it's a very strong taste, and you want to make sure you're not going to taste the oil in your donuts. And I've got here half a cup of packed brown sugar. That's approximately 97 grams. So I'm going to whisk all that up. Make sure the egg is all beaten up there. I'm just punching down the big pieces of brown sugar just to make sure there's no big clumps. Now let's add our dry ingredients. First, we're going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. That's 125 grams. I have half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's approximately 1.7 grams. And I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of regular table salt. That's approximately 1.5 grams. And I'm going to stir all of this to make sure that it's very well combined. Make sure all that flour is combined well. Okay, we have our donut batter. So now it's time to put our batter into our pastry bag. And this is the easiest way that I know how to do it. I take a tall glass, let me move that over, and I put my pastry bag inside and I fold the edges over like this. And then I kind of push it down a little bit. So now I have a good opening to put my batter in, and this can get a little messy. So I'm prepared for it to be slightly messy, but I just kind of pour it in like this, and I take a second spatula and I try to get as much off as I can without it getting too messy. And one tip that I can give you is that it's better to have a very full pastry bag than to have to go back and refill it a second time, because it's going to be really difficult to do. So take the tallest glass that you have so that you have enough room to really fill it up. I can fit all of my batter in here. I'm just going to try to get every little bit I can. All right, there we go. So now all I have to do is lift it up, and I've got a full pastry bag here. I'm just going to shake it down so it gets to the bottom, and when I'm ready, I'm just going to twist the top and start filling my donut pans. Okay, so I'm ready to fill. I'm going to grab my pastry bag and I'm going to start twisting the top very gently until I start having a little bit of that dough coming out and I'm squeezing it. And I don't really care that it's coming out squiggly like that, because once it bakes, it's going to fill up. Now the way I do it is I fill up each part of the tin with one little round of the donut batter, and then I'll go and fill in the extras if I have extra, to make sure that each donut is even. Each donut has the same amount of batter. That's how they bake evenly, when you have the same amount of batter for each donut. Now I've got those here. I have my second pan where I buttered these 3, so I'm going to go ahead and do those 3. And the batter is quite thick, so find the largest tip you have, or you don't even have to use a tip, I suppose. because it takes some elbow grease to get that batter out of there. Now I've got quite a bit left. I'm going to go back, put just a quick little round in each one. Let me move this out of the way. And hopefully I'll have enough to put a little extra in each one. Now what's happening right now, and I already know this, is there's probably a little lump of brown sugar in there. It's blocking this, so I'm just going to go and take care of that. Okay, I got that lump of brown sugar out. So now I can continue. You know when you've got something blocked in there because you can't squeeze out any more of that batter. This is great. I have enough to go around a second time for each one. And I've got a little bit left, so I'm going to go to each donut and see maybe if I can add a little here and there where it looks a little shy of the batter. And like I said, it doesn't matter what it looks like right now because it's all going to fill in when it bakes. The main thing is to get all of the batter even. Okay, this one over here looks a little sad. Let's give this one a little more batter. Maybe this one too. I'm trying to be a perfectionist right now. There we go. That's the last of the batter there. Now, if you wanted to, you can take a wet finger and just push the dough down if you want to. I would do that anywhere that it's kind of pointing up, sticking up a little bit. But otherwise, you can leave it the way it is. However, I would suggest that if you have any of the batter on your pan, wipe it off, or any butter for that matter, because you don't want it to burn. All right, these look pretty good. They're ready to go into the oven. We're going to put these into the oven and we're going to let them bake for 12 minutes. You know that your donuts are ready when they spring back, when you push down on them, and also when they start to brown a little bit on the sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let them cool in the pan for about 10 minutes and then transfer them to a cooling rack until they're fully cool. While the donuts are cooling down, I'm going to make the glaze. In my bowl, I have 1 1/4 cups of powdered sugar or icing sugar, and that's approximately 150 grams. Now to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of milk. I'm using 2% milk, that's approximately 46 grams, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, which is approximately 1.2 grams. I'm just going to mix the vanilla into the milk right away, just so that it's well combined. And then I'm just going to pour this in. Now I've got some milk handy, just in case I want to add more. But basically you want your glaze to be thin enough to coat the donuts, but not too thick. You're just going to have to see what the consistency is that you like on your donuts and either add more sugar or add more milk. I'm going to show you what mine looks like, how I like it. Okay, see how that kind of just pours down like that? That's how I like mine. I don't like a thick coat of glaze on the donut, because I find when it's too thick, you lose the flavor of the donut and all you taste is the icing sugar. Now I'm just going to actually grab a fork and I'm going to beat that up a little bit, so to speak, to try to get all of the icing sugar well combined. All right, I'm going to set that aside just on the counter until I'm ready to glaze my donuts. When you're ready to transfer your donuts onto your cooling rack, just take the back of a spoon and just give them a little push, just to make sure that they're not sticking to the side at all. So I've done that with all of my donuts here and I'm ready to transfer them over. I have a piece of wax paper underneath my cooling rack because when it's time to glaze the donuts, we're going to put them back on the cooling rack and there's going to be some of that glaze that's going to fall through and we want to catch it so it doesn't get all over the counter. So I'm just going to take my donuts and there we go. They will be darker on one side. You'll notice that because they were cooking in the pan. And that's perfectly fine. They're well baked. They smell so good. I would love to have one right now. Actually, I could have one with a coffee right now, but you know what? I'll wait. I'll let you guys see what I do when I glaze them. These are practically cool. They cool very quickly, especially when you take them out of the donut pan. Glazing the donuts couldn't be easier. You have your bowl of glaze. Basically, you take your donut, dip it on one side, turn it over and dip it on the other, and then just put it on your cooling rack. That's it. There we go. All 9 donuts are glazed. You want to let them sit for a little bit, not too long because I'm sure you want to taste one. But let them sit for a good maybe 10 minutes or so to let the glaze really try to harden up a little bit. And as you can see here, there are some pieces of icing sugar. So how about I just say this? You could probably do a better job than I did when you're mixing up your icing sugar with the milk and the vanilla. But I'm not even worried about that. You see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of pushing it in there and it's becoming part of the glaze here. There, I quickly fixed that. You can fix your little mistakes. And even if you don't want to fix these mistakes, they become delicious mistakes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this baking lesson today, my friends. All of my baking is pretty accessible to everyone. I don't have a $5 million kitchen. I don't have a professional baking degree. I'm just a home cook, a home baker who wants to share accessible videos to everyone. These donuts are so delicious, and you could keep them in the fridge for about a week in an airtight container. I wouldn't. I think that they go stale pretty fast, like I said, because there's no preservative in them. So they're best eaten within the first 24 hours that you make them, and just make sure they're in an airtight container so they don't get hard and stale really, really quickly. I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave me a comment. I really love reading comments, and I do reply to them. So until next time on Rain's Kitchen and Garden, this is Rain. Bye!